Welcome back once again. We are in Africa and we have a problem. We have patriots on the plot. Although we've always considered extreme patriots such as the Patriot Army to be a bit crazed, the rhetoric coming from this organisation in recent weeks has taken a turn for the worse. Many of them now seem certain that a military attack against their own government is justified and desirable. They do not believe that they're currently planning such an attack, but these are dangerous people and we do need to keep a close watch on them. Crime is almost entirely eradicated in our country, which is fantastic. Love that. Everything else is roughly the same. There is a policy question about an STD education programme because there is a significant instance of sexually transmitted disease amongst our people. And in order to stem any further spread, it's been recommended we undertake a national programme of education. Based on the latest international research, foreign aid has been promised to back the campaign. So we could start the programme, and a sustained national education campaign is an effective way of making people aware of the vectors of sexually transmitted disease. Angering Conservatives will be a price worth paying to eliminate ignorance, misinformation in our society and bring down infection rates. But no programme. So a programme teaching the explicit details of sexual intercourse will be seen as immoral by a large proportion of the electorate. The political cost of angering Conservatives and religious voters is too great to consider implementing it. I don't believe that it is too great. I believe that education is key. And while religion is very important in Africa, I do believe that the health and well-being of our citizens should be the primary importance. So we will start that programme. Still a budget surplus of 84.3 billion. We're still not going to get any votes in the polls, which is kind of worrying, but that's fine. The most worrying thing I find at the moment is that there is the main problem comes from a patriotic plot, and the patriots are nowhere near the lowest group, which is what I consider to be very, very concerning. The Patriot Army is very, very high, and it is very, very worrying that they dislike us so much. So following intelligence interference, that is caused by our own poor intelligence network. So if I increase the spending in our own intelligence network to 28.4 billion, hopefully it will stop foreign intelligence interference. So we'd like to do that as we try to bring these patriots back on side. I don't really want to increase military spending because it is quite high. The farmland acquisition programme appears to make patriots happier while pissing off everybody else. So we don't want to go too deep into that. We've got two ministers. They are happy with having ministers, and military spending seems to be the other way to bring them on side. But let's see if we can't look at something else. Perhaps I obviously don't want to annoy them anymore by upsetting them with things like foreign tax breaks and things like that. But what we can do is try and bring them back with national anthems in schools. Young people these days have lost all sense of belonging. Starting in the school day with a national anthem will boost their national pride and help discipline them. They may not always like it, but it is good for them. So youth may dislike it, but I think we can creep that up there. It won't cost anything. It's just a government policy, and I think that will help patriots to come back on our side. So I'm quite happy with that. Quite happy with that. Other than that, fairly happy with it for the moment. I mean, we could bring in the Gender Discrimination Act, making discrimination against women illegal, which would certainly help curb the inequality within our systems. So as well as equal rights for women being written into law, this step can be taken to correct historic inequality with positive action. Affirmative action favours the employment or appointment of women for roles across the full spectrum of the labour market and the political system. We don't want to go that far because you can't fight discrimination with more discrimination. But what you can do is make discrimination illegal. So yeah, we don't want to stretch into positive action, but legal equality, absolutely. Increase in democracy, decrease in gender inequality. Women like it, liberals like it, conservatives don't like it. Conservatives are still fairly happy with us on the whole, so I don't mind aggravating them too much. I'm just going to take a look quickly now at some of the charts. The intelligence briefing actually showed that the land army is probably one of the biggest threats to us at the moment. And the land army is run by farmers and people who are working the land, the land army. So let's go and introduce the agro-dealer networks, which will improve information and dissemination, supply chains and production distribution in farming communities. They offer permanent premises where farmers can attend training and order and barter for agricultural supplies and cooperatively sell their produce to achieve better prices. I think this would be a fantastic thing to introduce. I think that it will, for very little outlay, to put it all up to the maximum 388 million, would increase our agricultural efficiency, increase rural income, increase rural people and the self-employed. I can't see any downsides to this whatsoever. So we're going to implement this policy as well, and this is going to be our final act of this quarter. So we'll see where this lands. Hopefully this will reduce the people like the land army, and we've introduced the Gender Equality Act to decrease the effect of the matriarchs of justice as well. So hopefully this will mean that we have done enough to try and bring some equality back into our country. Thank you once again for joining us. I will see you in the next quarter, and we will see what we can do to try and increase both the health and the employment within our country. Thank you very much for joining me.